There we go. Just a moment. All right, we are live on YouTube. So welcome to everybody who's watching us on YouTube. It is a pleasure to welcome everybody to Shabbat Services with Congregation Shalom. It's been a lovely week. We are going to begin our Shabbat worship on page, whoops, here by mistake. On page 300, I think it's 344, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, page 344 with Shir Hadash. We are going to continue with the candle lighting on pages 3 and 2. Who would like to light the candles this evening? Do we have a volunteer? Thank you, Kim. And Claire.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. The candles
Go out.
All right, stay. There we go. Right. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who helps us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Kim and Claire. We continue on page 8. And let's read responsively. I'm sorry, no, not responsibly. Page 9, my mistake, page 9. Let's read responsively. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. We continue on page 20 with Lecha Dodi. We sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And when we reach verse 9, we rise and face the rear of the synagogue to welcome the Sabbath bride. Lecha Dodi likakala yalala 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 ne Shabbat nekavela. Lecha Dodi likakala yalala 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 ne Shabbat nekavela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor Kala yalala 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 Bnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likakala yalala 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 Bnei Shabbat nekabela. Ikrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki hi mekor habracha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshavat tefila. Lecha Dodi likakala yalala 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 Bnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likakala yalala 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 Bnei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, hiva orechu mi'ori, uri, uri, shir daberi, kvod Adonai alayim nigla. Lecha Dodi likakala yalala 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 Bnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likakala yalala 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 Bnei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret bala gam besimcha ubzochola toch emunei am segula boi chala Lecha Dodi likakala Shabbat nekabela lechadodi likakala yalala 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 ne Shabbat nekabela. Please be seated. We sing of new beginnings every day, each in our time to praise and deeds and dreams, the wonder of life, God's work in all our ways. We gather in the scattered radiant beams. Moses did not see the promised land, expanding new horizons round the bend. His task to leave a slave-accustomed band, to march toward freedom, searchers without end. Can I do my share? Each day we ask. Mindful of the past, building for tomorrow. Not Moses, nor Zusia, nor any borrowed mask. To be ourselves today, this road we furrow. Ours not to end the work, nor even start. Ours to give each day a willing heart. We continue on page 26 with the Chatzi Kaddish. Yitkata vikada shemeraba Be'amad yivrach hirutei v'yamlik malchutei B'chayechon u'yom echon u'chayetecho beit Yisrael Ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'miru amen Yehei shmei Rabba mevarach le'alam u'yamei amaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalal shemei dekudesha brichu Leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran b'yama v'miru amen. We turn to page 28, and as able, we rise for the Baruch Hu. We continue on page 31 at the top of the page. Let's read together. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, You set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. Page 32. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shochenu, V'kumenu nasiach b'chukecha, V'nismach b'divrei Toratcha, U'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed, Ki hem chayenu, V'orach yameinu, Uvahem nege yomam v'layla, Nege yomam v'layla, V'ahavatcha al tasir, Mimenu le'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev amo Yisrael, Ohev amo Yisrael. Page 34. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod, Malchuto, Le'olam, Le'olam va'ed. Please be seated. Page 36. Please join me. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh Asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha b'derech uv'shochtecha uv'kumecha Ukshartam leot ayatecha, vehayu letotafot beinenecha. Uktavtam amezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha. Lema antizkeru mitzvotai, vitem kedoshim lelohechem. Ani Adonai Elohecha Asher hotzei tiatchem me'eretz Mitzrayim Lihiot lachem Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem. Adonai Elohechem emet. Page 39 in the middle of the page. Let's read responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. From bondage in Egypt, we were delivered. At Sinai, we bound ourselves to your way. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Yai bye bye bim bitty bum, yabba bye bye bim bum. Yai bye bye bim bitty bum, yabba bye bye bim bum. Bye 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 bye, yabba bye bye bim bum. Bye 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 bye, yabba bye bye bim bum. Mi chamocha baili madonai, mi chamocha neda bakodesh. No gatihilot o seifela, no ratihilot o seifela, mahalachutecha. Yam lifnei Moshe uMiriam ze'eli anu ve'amru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Yai bye bye bim bitty bam, yabba bye bye bim bam. Yai bye bye bim bitty bam, yabba bye bye bim bam. I die 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 die, yabba bye bye bim bam. I die 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 die, yabba bye bye bim bam. V'ne'emar ki fad Adonai et Yaakov uge'alo miyad chazak mimenu. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. Page 43. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 44, Vishamru. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. Vishamru v'lot et ha-Shabbat et dorotam berit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. Ma'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית העולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית העולם. כי ששת ימים, כששת ימים, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית העולם. וביום השביעי שבת ונפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית העולם. We turn to page 46, and as able, we rise for the tefillah. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi tehillatcha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Page 48. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei Vneihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah Rav lehoshia, Mashiv haruach umorid hagasham, Mechalkel chaim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofei cholim, Umatir asrim, Umekayeh memunato, Lishenei avar, Uchamocha ba'gevurot, Umito melach, Melech memit umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'emanata lehachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kadoshim b'chol yom yehalalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. We're seated, and we continue together on page 55 at the top. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. and may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 59. Let's read together. When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us? We mortals that you take note of us. You made us little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'el lehodot. Page 60, Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Ki hatahu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Ki hatahu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Baruch atah Adonai, hamevarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. We continue in silent reflection and prayer, using the words on the following pages or those that flow from our hearts. to continue with Yehiyu L'Ratzon, which is in your bulletin handout, which I've now put in the chat for those of you on Zoom. Go inside your heart, just be. Go inside your heart and see what it wants, what it needs when you yearn, when you breathe. Go inside your heart and see. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be kind, be true. May they be acceptable to you, oh my rock and my redeemer. Cobb, you and Min have an anniversary. Do you want to wait for your blessing until Min's here? Yeah?
Yeah.
I had a feeling you'd want to do that. She's not even on Zoom tonight. She's supposed to be under the weather. All right, any other birthdays or anniversaries this week? No? Everybody's okay. All right, we turn to page 253. Page 253. As our thoughts turn to those who are in need of healing of mind, body, and spirit. Misha Berach Avotenu ve'imotenu Abraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah hu yivarech et hacholim. Joseph Ben Esther, Marcy Berman, Marty Boyle, Bob Brock, Isaac Cohen, Sarah Cohen, Bruce Dalby, Ralph Domas, Carolyn Doutland, Stuart Dowland, Steve Feynman, Bernice Fischel, Justin Folk, Kathy Hassenlop, Melanie Hudson, Matt Kiefer, Jana Lesser, Cheryl Martinez, Wendy Mayer, Mike McNerney, Tom Moore, Marge Muldoon, Charles Patrick, Charlotte Renfro, John Robertson, Diana Samuels, Bruce Schlossberg, Barbara Schmidt, Jennifer Schell, Shimshon Ben Abraham Sarah, April Singer, Ron Stevens, Maria Stospal, Maureen Sullivan, Cliff Van Cora, Emilio Vasquez, Susan Weber, Marcia Goran Wesser, Kay Williams. Are there others for whom we are praying for healing this Shabbat? We'll start with those in the room.
Amy Harmon.
Thank you. Yeah, Adam.
Ron Fraser,
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. And those on Zoom, Eileen?
Jerry Grant and Mike Carter.
Thank you. Anyone else on Zoom? For those who've been named and for those we name in our hearts, we continue. HaKadosh Baruch Hu yimalei rachamim aleihem lahachalimam ularapotam ulahachazikam v'yishlach lahem mehera refuah shleima min hashamayim refuat hanefesh urefuat haguf hashta be'agala b'zman kariv v'nomar amen. And we continue with the Mishaberach that we sing together. Avotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Last Shabbat, we left Jacob having just woken from his dream, acknowledging God's surprising presence. So much has happened since then. I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. Jacob made his way to Haran, to the home of his uncle Laban. Before he actually gets there, however, he sees Rachel tending her father's sheep, and it's love at first sight. He agrees to work for Laban for 7 years to earn Rachel's hand in marriage. On their wedding night, Jacob the deceiver is himself deceived and is given Rachel's sister Leah as his wife instead. By the time he realizes it, he has already consummated the marriage. He agrees to work another 7 years, but before he does, he marries Rachel also. Leah, it turns out, is quite fertile, while Rachel is barren. After Leah produces 4 sons, Rachel gives Jacob her handmaid Bilhah to produce children on her behalf, which she does. So Leah follows suit with her handmaid Zilpah. Each handmaid produces 2 sons. Leah goes on to have 2 additional sons and a daughter, and Rachel finally has a son, Joseph. At this point, it's now 20 years later, Jacob decides it's time to take his leave of Laban. There's some deceitful finessing that takes place on both Laban's part and Jacob's part that ends with Jacob fleeing secretly with a great deal of wealth that he has amassed. Rachel, in the meantime, has stolen her father's household gods. Laban chases after them, and when he catches up to them, Rachel, who is now pregnant with Benjamin, sits on her stolen booty and gets away with it. Jacob and Laban make a pact not to harm each other. Laban kisses his daughters and grandchildren goodbye and takes his leave. Phew! Which brings us up to this week's Parsha, Vayishlach. Jacob is headed home to Canaan. he prepares to reunite with his twin brother Esau, whom he deceived 20 years ago, stealing his birthright and his blessing. He has no idea how Esau will react. Is he still furious? Does he still want to kill him? Jacob hears that Esau has 400 men traveling with him, and he is fearful. So fearful, in fact, that the Torah uses two different words to describe his fear, vayera and vayetzer. The first word for fear, vayera, is also the word for awe. The boundary between awe and fear is ever so slight. We are awestruck by the vast unknown of the universe, and we are aware of our smallness. We are afraid of our vulnerability at the same time that we are in awe of the grandeur and the possibilities. The second word for fear, vayetzer, comes from the root narrow, the same root as Mitzrayim, Egypt, or Gesher Tsar Ma'od, a very narrow bridge. This kind of fear constricts our very being. We are clenched, terrified. Some rabbis teach that the two words for fear indicate the two fears within Jacob's heart. He is afraid of being killed by his brother, but he is also afraid that he may be forced to kill when his brother attacks him. But there's another teaching in rabbinic literature, that Jacob is afraid because he believes he is not worthy of miraculous salvation. Jacob divides his family, servants, and possessions into two camps, thinking that if Esau attacks one, at least the other will escape. He then crosses the river Yabok and has a fitful night's sleep. And you guessed it, another dream. This time, he dreams that he is wrestling an Ish. The text never tells us who or what this Ish is. Some say it was an angel, some say it was God. Some others say that it was Jacob wrestling with himself. The Ish is strong and nearly prevails over him, pulling at Jacob's leg, badly wounding him. But Jacob summons an inner strength and courage. He holds onto the Ish, overpowers him, and demands from him a blessing. The blessing Jacob receives is a new name that would later become the name of the Jewish people, Israel, Yisrael, the one who struggles with God. This experience gives Jacob the courage and conviction to continue on to greet his brother and the reality that awaits him. We often find ourselves like Jacob, gripped by fear. Whether it's yirah, fear that comes from feeling small in the vastness of the universe, or yetzer, fear that constricts our very being and paralyzes us, preventing us from moving forward. We've all faced the fear, especially over the past couple of years with COVID. The difference, of course, is that what Jacob fears most is himself. He knows that he has not been a very good son, brother, or person in general. Does he have what it takes to turn things around? Rabbi David Kimchi, known as Radak, wrote in his Torah commentary, God sent an angel to wrestle with Jacob to strengthen his heart so that he would not fear that he could not stand up to Esau. Therefore, if the angel could not defeat him, then Esau would not be able to defeat him. They struggled until the dawn as a hint that light is coming after the darkness. Trouble is compared to night and darkness. Therefore, the angel came to him at night and wrestled with him until the dawn as a hint that he will have spirit and rescue, which is like light after the darkness. Rabbi Kimchi knew that we need signs that we can overcome the challenges that we face that the light of dawn is inevitably coming to extinguish the dark. When we face difficult situations, we must respond with strength, spirit, and faith. Three elements that we have contributed to the Jewish people's survival for generations. Jacob is now a changed man. He's not the young boy who bargained for his brother's birthright over a bowl of stew. He's no longer the adolescent who deceived his father and stole his brother's blessing. He is now Yisrael, a man who knows his own flaws and limitations, a man who bears the scars and burdens of his past and allows them to inform his present perspective. Jacob is humble and pragmatic. He limps toward his brother, his hips still sore from the struggle of the night before, and having repented, he humbly asks for his brother's forgiveness. Esau rushes towards Jacob, and we don't know Esau's intentions, but Esau knows. He senses that his brother is a changed man. The Torah tells us that Esau falls on his brother's neck and kisses him, and they burst into tears. This brief episode is so rich with so many important lessons for our time. It teaches us, first and foremost, to have the courage to change. It teaches that in order to change, we first have to know who or what we are changing from. But self-knowledge alone is not change. We have to be Yisrael, prepared to wrestle with our own beliefs, our souls, our strengths, and our challenges. Not to cling to unquestioned faith or fundamentalist belief. This approach can often feel tiring and trying. The question then becomes, when do we know that we have completed the struggle and are free to move beyond it? Rabbi Michael Dolgen writes, the answer is found later on in the book of Genesis. Jacob remains in Canaan, worried that he will lose more of his children. However, the light begins to dawn when Jacob has learned that his long-lost son Joseph is in fact alive in Egypt. As he prepares to go down from Canaan to reunite with his son, the way in which the Holy One calls to him is instructive. In Genesis 46, verses 1 and 2, we read, so Israel set out with all that was his, and he came to Beersheba, where he offered sacrifices to the God of his father Isaac. God called to Israel in a vision by night, Jacob, Jacob, he answered, Hineni, here I am. While the Torah refers to the third patriarch as Israel, the Holy One instead calls out Jacob, Jacob. The constant movement back and forth between the two versions of Jacob and Israel's name is intentional. It teaches us that wrestling with holiness is never intended to end. Sometimes we are children of Jacob, wrestlers, reachers, strugglers. Sometimes we are Israel, achievers, overcomers. The dichotomy is and should be essential to the Jewish lens on life. We must always be willing to hear from other perspectives and to consider new insights. We must always embrace those who are struggling in darkness if we are experiencing light. We must always hope and work for light, even in the most challenging of times. Ken Yehi Ratzon. May this be God's will. Shabbat Shalom. Not yet, Dave. Before we call on David, we are going to call on Nami Ikolov, who is the CEO of the Jewish Federation of San Antonio, to bring us greetings and to say a few words on behalf of the Jewish Federation.
Thank you, Lisa.
My pleasure.
Good evening, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom to those virtually joining us also. As Rabbi Lisa just mentioned, my name is Nami Echolov, and I'm the CEO of the Jewish Federation of San Antonio. And the Jewish Federation of San Antonio has been in San Antonio for 95 years. And 2027, we'll be celebrating our 100th year. And the Jewish Federation of San Antonio is often perceived as sort of the fundraising arm. I'm not making a solicitation this evening, so you can put away your wallets, your checkbooks, everything's good. But the other things that the Federation is responsible for is sometimes missed or neglected because of that fundraising, securing the resources part. We're basically an organization that stands on three legs. The first leg is the responsibility to bring the community together, to convene the community. Our job is to see the entire community as welcome under our tent. We have synagogues like this one and other synagogues in San Antonio that have their membership and their smaller communities. We have organizations that connect with the Jewish community in different ways. The only organization to see the entire community as its congregation is the Jewish Federation. And so it's incumbent upon us to bring that community together. The second leg of the stool is this planning and securing the sustainability of our community. Having been here for 95 years, there are others that came before us. There's the Pirkei Avot, that we stand on the shoulders of those who came before us. And we have had that luxury of all of those generations that have come before us to be able to be here to enjoy these kinds of experiences. And so the second responsibility of the Jewish Federation is to keep that planning going, to be able to look down the horizon and to be able to see what is coming and to be able to plan accordingly as a community. And then that brings us to the third leg, which is securing the resources in order for the other two to be able to happen. So the fundraising happens because our job is to bring the community together and to plan for the community. This week's Torah portion, as Rabbi Lisa just mentioned, has the scene of Jacob wrestling with whether it's an angel, whether it's his conscience, or whether it's Esau's spirit. There are even rabbis that claim it's Esau's spirit. The allegory of the wrestling match is such that when you look at the ending of this wrestling match, a strange thing happens. If you imagine two individuals, two beings, two entities wrestling all through the night, and here comes the sunrise, here comes the dawn of a new day, and they're not getting anywhere, no one particular person has the upper hand on the other. But at the end of it, Jacob is holding this other character or this other spirit and won't let go unless this other person gives him a blessing. It's a strange request. Why do you want a blessing from somebody who has been wrestling you endlessly all through the night? The idea is to end the wrestling match, not to seek something out of it. And the rabbis tell us that what we learn from this experience is that there's always something good that can happen from something difficult, challenging, or even bad. It's the silver lining story of the Torah. That even in an endless battle, that there can be a blessing that comes out of it. The Jewish Federation today is challenged with with many items, but one particular challenge that we have in a community of San Antonio, and quite frankly, in all Jewish communities across the nation. And that is that we are a very polarized community. We are a very divided community. Not because we want to be, but because we just see the world so differently. And the Jewish Federation's challenge in a world like this is, how do we get our progressive left of center and our traditional right of center, I don't even want to say to agree with each other. I'm simply asking for us to acknowledge each other. We live in a world where it's very easy to dismiss other ideas because they're outside of our community of echo chambers. And the Federation's job is to build those bridges. The Federation's job is to ensure that we listen to each other, that we, like it once was, we can agree to disagree. We can agree that we won't believe necessarily the same things or see the world through the same lens, but we will still care about each other and we will still respect the fact that we're all still part of the same community. Ultimately, that is the greatest challenge today that we have as a Jewish community, because there are those outside of the Jewish community that want our demise. There are those that want the destruction. I have the opportunity to write a weekly Torah, just like Rabbi Lisa does, a weekly Torah portion that gets sent to members of the community. And as I mentioned earlier to David, a few weeks ago, I had a realization. I grew up with what I understood was two forms of anti-Semitism. One that was basically ignorance, non-Jews who grew up without any concept of what Judaism is. And so they perpetuated tropes of anti-Semitism that they didn't understand or know. Then there was the other form of anti-Semitism, which was purposeful hate, intentional hate towards the Jews. Both of which can be addressed, both of which can be worked on. But in today's world, we have a third kind. And this third kind is a strange kind. This third kind is a hate of Jews for publicity. It's a hate of Jews for likes. It's a hate of Jews to be able to be in the spotlight. And the challenge for the Jewish community is, if we battle each other, we provide fodder and we provide existence for those who want our demise. So the best way to challenge that anti-Semitism is for us to extend our hands to our Jewish friends, neighbors, with whom we might disagree. Because if we can't agree to disagree, how can we fight those that simply disagree for the sake of disagreeing? So tonight, I'm not asking for a donation, although if you want to make a pledge, I'm happy to take it. What I am asking for is your attempt, I'm going to challenge you to try and find somebody that maybe you've separated ways with over the years. Maybe it was a friend that you just couldn't agree to disagree for whatever the reasons are. Reach out to that person and try to build that bridge. Because I fully recognize I am talking to the choir, the proverbial choir right now. Each of you is here celebrating Shabbat and being part of the community. There are many more that are not here. And therefore, it is incumbent upon us to be the role models, to be the first ones to take that step, to be able to show to those who are not here what it means to
David, unmute.
There you go.
Ah, yay. Okay, folks, there we are. Okay. Like I said, the folks who zoomed in or may have drifted in on YouTube, welcome to everybody. Now couldn't agree with you more. I've seen some in-house conflicts and stuff. Personally, my mother was Jewish hyphen Lower East Side Manhattan. My father was Jewish Warsaw, Indiana. Whether that qualifies as an interfaith marriage or not, I've never been quite sure. Neither one got the other to convert, so yeah. Okay, meeting under the heading of announcements, which I think that is what I'm basically here for. Okay, we've got a congregation meeting on Sunday, that's like day after tomorrow, at 1 p.m. If you checked your emails, the minutes of the last meeting, the agenda, and up-to-date financials have been emailed to everybody as of today, so feel free to check. There is a workshop, kind of a deep cleaning of the building here at the House of Prayer tomorrow. It's going to start at 8. No, what? Yeah, House of Prayer here.
Yes,
Huh?
yes, here.
Yeah, here.
8 to 12.
8 o'clock. Yeah, starts at 8. And it's either 12 a.m. and runs to 12 a.m. or until they run out of dirt, whichever comes first. Okay, we have got on the 15th, the Interfaith Hanukkah celebration. I got interfaith.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay, okay. Okay. Downtown San Fernando Cathedral, Catholic, Jewish. Together, that's at 11:30 a.m. And also, now we got on the 20, and it says here 3rd, Friday evening, we have our first annual Hanukkah celebration. 6:45 till the food runs out, basically. The short service followed by a dinner. It's a potluck. There is a sign up form on the computer. So please sign up so we have an idea of how many people will be there. Also, it's a potluck, so everybody is asked to sign up to bring something. Any questions, please contact either Sandra or Lacey, because they're in charge of coordinating and seeing that we do not walk in and find 25 bowls of potato salad. So with that, turn back to you, Nami. Again, thanks for being with us this evening. And back to you, Lisa.
We also need volunteers to cook latkes that evening or before the dinner. So if you're a latke cooker and want to volunteer, we will appreciate it.
And please don't wait till the last minute to send in to do the sign up genius. Okay. It really helps if we know how many to plan for early. We are going to continue with the concluding portion of our service, and I'm going to mess with something that is sacrosanct, which is the melody to Aleinu. Okay. Well, that's going to be interesting. Page 282, page 282. Before I ask you to rise, I'm going to teach this to you. This is your part. Hey, 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 no. Hey, no. Hey, no. Hey, no. Sing it with me. Hey, no. Hey, no. Hey, no. Hey, no. That's all you need to know. Hey, no. Hey, no. Sing loud. Sing loud. Hey, no. Hey, no. You're gonna sing over me, so sing loud. Hey, no. Hey, no. If you're comfortably able, please rise. Hey, no. Hey, no. Please rise. Hey, no. Hey, no. Hey, no. Hey, no. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'tekedu la'leotze b'reishim, shelo asanu kegoyei ha'aratzon, velo samanu mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam elkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol ha'avonam, non, hey, non, hey, non, hey, non. Va'anachu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech mlachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu Einod, 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 Einod. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz, bayom hahu yihiyeh Adonai Adonai echad v'shemo echad. Einod, 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 Page 295. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. This week, we remember for the period of Shloshim, the 30 days following their death, Aaron Seymour, cousin of Kathy Carden, Sylvia Hilton, friend of Stan and Wendy Drezick, and Anna Rado, friend of many in our community. We also remember observing the yahrzeit, the anniversary of their death. Edward F. Chevalier, father of Edward Chevalier. Darlene Connolly, mother of Adrian Chevalier. Katie Martin, the sister of Dennis Martin. Frida Tadelbaum, mother of Susan Weintraub. We remember 10 people who perished in the Holocaust. Chava Spector, Sarah Templin, Therese Jaspo, Arunka Reifnudel, Simeon Resnick, Chaim Schneider, Lieberman Sanayev Bernstein, Abel Smokizansky, Osip Weinberg, and Schmidt Schleifer. Are there others who are observing a yahrzeit or remembering somebody for Kaddish? Yes. Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody on Zoom? Zichronam livracha, their memories are an abiding blessing as we turn to the words of the mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich machutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru ameh. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach ve'alam u'amei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shmei dekudsha brichu le'ela minko birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran b'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imramav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the one who makes peace in the high places help us to make peace here on earth and send peace to all who are bereaved, as we say. Amen. We are going, please be seated. We're going to conclude our service with Adon Olam, which can be found on page 321. Page 321. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'Terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'ein Nasa B'Chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Yimlok Nora Ve'hu Haya Ve'hu Hove Ve'hu Yiyeh B'Tifara Ve'hu Yiyeh B'Tifara Ve'hu Echad V'yein Sheni L'ham Shiloh L'hafira B'li Reshit B'li Tachlit V'lo Ha'oz V'ha'misra V'lo Ha'oz V'ha'misra V'hu Eli V'chai Go'ali V'tzor Chavli V'yetzah Shabbat Shalom. Nami, would you like to lead us in Kiddush this evening? You don't have to, but. Page 5. Let's see if I can. There we go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pli hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho b'arva u'ratzon inchilanu zikaron l'maaseh b'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikai kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim ki banu v'charta v'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim Shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'ratzon הנחלתנו, ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Amen. L'chaim.
חי.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam motzi lachem min haaretz v'te'avon. Off the streaming.